You are watching Manjaro Beginner's Tour installation right now on Spatry's Cup of Linux. Recently, in my remake of episode 100, I defined my 5 favorite Linux distributions for beginners, and I gave the number 1 slot to Manjaro. So I figured it would be fitting to create a mini-series showing all of the different things that Manjaro brings to the table that make this Linux distribution very easy for everyone to use on a day-to-day basis. So here we are on the first part, installation. Alright, here we are. I'm booted into a live image of the latest snapshot of Manjaro 1512 Capella. However, right now I do know they are working on the next 16.6 release, and when we update this after installing it, I believe we'll be on their second release candidate. So you'll be up to date with the system anyway once we get this installed and everything's rolling on this. So we're not only talking about the current standard release, but this is going to be updated, and we're still following along the stable branch. Alright, and before we get into the installation procedures, I want to talk about the beginner user guide, which is available on your desktop. If you open this up in QPDF view, on page 9 is the index, or the table of contents. And from here, you can just click on any of the items in here that is of interest to you. Specifically, I don't have any hardware with which to do a UEFI installation. And I have no intention of purchasing any hardware in the future which has it. Matter of fact, when it comes time for me to update this laptop, I may end up just getting a computer with Linux already pre-installed on it, so I don't even have to worry about, and then of course I'll just remove whatever distribution is on that laptop and install Manjaro on it, because I know it'll work. So, that's probably the way I'm going to be going down that route. But also, there is information in here on using the graphical automatic installer or using the graphical installer for experienced users. And within this document is also information for those of you who want to dual boot this alongside of Windows. And I don't have a Windows installation, so I am not going to be doing a demonstration of dual booting. I've got tons of other videos on my YouTube channel that show how to do that. They are a little bit older, but the thing is, pretty much nothing has really changed. I mean, the procedure for installing Linux alongside Windows really hasn't changed. So you can check out those older videos if you want to. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with thus. Before I go clicking on this Use Thus button, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to look for gparted. That's right, kids. I like to make my own partitions. And the password for this is Manjaro. And it also says that right here. Password and username for the live environment are both Manjaro. Okay, and I'm going to make 4 primary partitions here. I'm going to label this one boot. I'm going to give this one 100 megs of space. It'll be a primary partition. And ext4 is fine. Now, I'm going to create another new partition. This one will be a Linux swap space. I'm going to give this one 2 gigs. Right-click and make another new partition. I'm going to give this one maybe 20 gigs of space. That'll be an ext4, and I'm going to name this one root. And then the last one, new. Call this one home. Helps to learn how to type. And I'm just going to allocate the rest of the space to that. Okay, I'm happy with the way this looks. So I'm just going to go ahead and press the check mark and apply it. Once the operations have been completed, I can go ahead and close this. And we're done with that. Now that I've got all my partitions set up, now we can use thus. Okay, this is interesting. It appears this is still pre-release beta software and does not properly handle RAID, BetterFS subvolumes, and other advanced setups. So, okay. Well, we're just going to be doing a basic setup with this. I would have thought they would have had this finished by now. Okay, but that's cool. For advanced setups, you would want to use the CLI installer anyway. I'm in English and the United States, so we'll select that one. I want the New York time zone. It's already detected my USA keyboard layout. It's saying I'm not connected to the internet, but believe me, I am. Next, we will choose exactly where Manjaro should be installed rather than just telling it to erase the disk. Although you could use one of these options. But we've already defined how we want to have Manjaro installed on our partitions, so I'm just going to choose this one. Go forward here. Alright, and look at this. Because we've got our labels here, now we can easily see the way I set things up here. So, I'm going to tell it to format these partitions here. And then we're going to edit each one. We've got the label boot, so we're going to make the mount point for this one boot. And apply it. Dev/SDA3, we're going to edit this one. And this slash here means root. Dev/SDA4, we're going to edit that one. We're going to make this home. I like having home on its own partition. And of course, if you want to use encryption, you can. I'm not going to do that though. Okay, I'm happy with the way this is set up. It's showing the mount points we want. And of course, this is our little swap partition, so we really didn't have to do anything with that. But hey, we can select format that too. Format all of it, right? Let's press install now. I'm pleased with that setup. Okay, and it's showing us all of our stuff here. Go ahead and apply that. And now it wants some information. Okay, that works for me. Notice, you should always pick a password that is very difficult for others to guess, but easy for you to remember. Once you've filled out all the fields and everything, the installation procedure will commence, and all of these wonderful messages will appear on the screen, which will explain how Manjaro is going to change your life forever. Exciting, isn't it? The next installer method we're going to look at is Calamari. And I know Philip Mueller and his team have been putting a lot of love into this, so I want to give a good demonstration of how this one is being used. During the pause, I completely wiped the hard drive clean of everything, And we're actually going to use Calamari to set up the partitions because I want to show you just how easy this is, okay? Alright, first we're going to pick English United States. It had already detected me. Cool deal. Let's pick New York. And of course the system locale is correct. You can change that here if necessary. Your keyboard layout has already been detected and checked. Very nice. Now we're going to go into manual partitioning. Okay, you can just erase the disk and install Manjaro if you want to, but I like to manually do things. So we're going to select this, and then we're going to select the free space because I went into gparted and just wiped everything out of there. And then we're going to create a partition. Alright, and this mount point will be boot. And we want this to be 100 megs. It'll be a primary, but the thing is you can make extended partitions if you want to here. ext2 file system, that's fine. It doesn't matter, it's just the boot partition. Okay, and you'll see that it's in red now. Alright, now we're going to make a new partition again. Create. And this one is going to be a swap. I'm going to give that 2000 megabytes. So there will be no mount point on that one. See how that grayed out? Alright, and then now we're going to click free space again, press create. And this time I want to give this one 20 gigabytes. We're going to choose the ext4 file system. The mount point is root. That's what that little slash there is. So you have these other options too. You could actually make, different mount points for all of these if you wanted to. But we're just going to do one for root. And we're going to give that 20 gigs. Okay, and then this free space here, I'll create another one. Alright, and this one's going to be called home. We'll make that an ext4 partition as well. And we're going to just use the remaining space. Zip, bada, boom. I'm pleased with how that looks. I'm very happy with it. So it looks very similar. And if you wanted to, we could have even used gparted to define our partitions first and then come in here and do that. But that's okay. This works too. Alright, and now it's going to ask us for the general information. Always choose a complicated password. Alright, and then we'll tell it to use the password, blah, 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 log in automatically without asking, or, yeah. Okay, we've seen all that before, right? Okay, and it's giving us a summary of what we've done here. I'm pleased with what we've got here. We'll press next. And now we're probably going to be greeted with another little slideshow that is going to explain how Manjaro will change your life. The last stop on our installation tour takes me to my favorite installer. That's right, we are going to look at the CLI or command line installer. Okay, and this may look a little bit daunting for some, but believe me, it's really not that hard. Now, you'll remember earlier that we did go into gparted. And I made some partitions earlier. Okay? And we're going to be using this layout right here. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK. Set date and time. We've got UTC. That's okay. Very good. And then we need to also pick America. New York. Okay, it's got the correct date. Wonderful. All right. And the time is correct too. Very good. Alright, and now we'll go into disk preparation. You have auto prepare. You have partition hard drives. Create software RAID, LVM2, and looks encryption. Or we can set file system mount points. Well, since I have already defined how I want to set this up, I'm just going to choose option number 4 and set the file system mount points. It's showing the available partitions that we have. It's saying to select the partition to use as swap. That would be /dev/SDA2. It says, would you like to create a file system on /dev/SDA2? No, I'm not going to. And then select the partition to mount as root. That would be dev/SDA3. File system, we'll use ext4. We're not going to create an additional file system there, no. Okay, and then select any additional partitions to mount under your new root. Okay, and then we're going to select /dev/SDA1. We want that one to be boot. There I go, messing up the default configuration there. ext2 is fine. We could make it ext4. That's cool, whatever. No, we're not going to make any additionals. And then select this partition to mount under your new root. So that will be dev/SDA4. This one is going to be home. And that one will be ext4. I'm not going to write an additional file system. And then done. Alright, and we look good there. UUID is fine for using in the config files. And now it's mounting all of our partitions for the installation. Now we can return to the main menu. Next, we are going to install the system. And now it's going to unsquash all the images and that sort of thing. And once it's done, I'm going to pause the video while we're waiting on this, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, our installation has succeeded. Next, let's press that continue button, and then configuration is in progress. Okay, and after all of the installations had completed, now we are on the next step to configure the system. This is where we're going to set our root password. Make sure you come up with something complex. And next we're going to set up a user account. Of course, I need to have sudo rights for that, absolutely. You can change your locale optionally. I'm happy with the locale that it's already at. You can also change your key map, and you can edit your system configuration options, which is optional, and I am not going to go into those details. And then at that point, we're just going to go back to the main menu. The system did a very nice job of automatically checking my locale, and it knows that I'm in the United States and that sort of thing. So I'm pretty good there. I've got to say, the graphical installers are very nice because it automates the process of setting this up for you. I can attribute the graphical installers to being like driving a car with an automatic transmission, where using the CLI installer is much like driving a car with a stick shift. You just feel like you're in more control. Our installation has been successful, and we are ready to rock and roll. But before we can do that victory dance, we need to make sure that we install a bootloader. So with 5 selected, we're going to press OK. All right, and it's asking what the boot system type is. Well, I don't use Goofy Eufy. I've got BIOS, so we've got BIOS selected. All right, and I want to have Grub2 BIOS. That's fine. All right, and now it's going to detect, and yep, Dev SDA is where we want it to go. It's installing our bootloader, and then everything should be good to go for us. All right, no errors, no problems, and then we can quit. Installation finished. Woohoo! Now that our installation is completed, let's go ahead and restart the computer. When you reboot your computer, you will get a screen like this. Just press enter. And now you can just go ahead and log in. Alright, we are now logged into the system and everything looks nice. So that will bring an end to our installation tour. In the next episode, I am going to talk about updating the system. Of course, you're going to need to run updates after doing a fresh install. And I'm also going to cover a few little extra things that you can do right after installation to make this a little bit more useful. We'll see you for that video next. Peace out.